So there are two things in my life that I hold in high regard. The first is music, and the second is comedy. Comedy and music, are the two things that have been with me when I've been depressed, when I've been sad, when I've been feeling down, when I'm happy. Comedy and music, I always find solace in comedy and in music. I'm one of those people. I mostly live on my own. Ever since I've been an adult, I've been living on my own. So when I wake up, I play some music, or I have a comedy special playing in the background as I get ready for work. When I'm on my way to work, I have some music, or I play a comedy special as I go to work. Comedy is basically my life. Music is basically my life. And one of my favorite comedians of all time is Dave Chappelle. His comedy, I can't express just how much it has affected me as an individual, how much he has made me laugh when I've been so downtrodden, when I've been in the depths and pits of depression. Not many people like to talk about depression, but my generation, the millennials, we're better with a lot of depression, we're better with a lot of issues. And comedy is one of those things, that just help us to let loose, help us to just feel happy, a little happiness in this world. So I must say, the direction that Dave Chappelle's comedy has taken lately, while he doesn't owe me anything, and I'm grateful for the great comedy he has produced, I think as a fan, I'm well within my rights to give a critique of his latest offering, The Closer. After signing his deal with Netflix, Dave Chappelle has turned into more of a social commentator than a comedian. If you go and watch his piece that he graciously released for free, his piece on Black Lives Matter, I was touched deeply by that piece as he was explaining how people could normalize the killing of black people in Western society by people who are supposed to protect them, the police. We all know what happened. We all know what the phrase "I can't breathe" means. You should go and watch Dave Chappelle's special on the killing of George Floyd. That's the kind of social commentary I personally can stand behind and applaud, because he was standing up for a section of the population that is really oppressed. He's a rich man. He might be black, but he's a famous rich man. And society treats him with a velvet glove, but he felt the need to speak on our behalf, and for that I'm forever grateful. However, with his latest special, I fail to see the point. Who was he trying to defend? What was he trying to say? Why does he feel the need to constantly attack the alphabet community, as he calls it? I've seen a lot of commentary about The Closer, and not many people who criticize him focus on the story of Daphne. And that's what I want to do. I want to focus on the story of Daphne. The story of Daphne draws parallels to the old cliche that we hear from racist people. I have a black friend. I have a black relative relative. My cousin married a black guy. I can't be racist. I have a black friend from work. I can't be racist. He appreciates my jokes when I say them. He doesn't get mad when I say my jokes that you're saying are racist. We've all been in that position. If you're a person of color, I have been in that position where I've had to laugh at clearly racist jokes. But because I was at work, because it was a client, I couldn't flat out come out and say, well, sir, what you're saying, really, I'm not comfortable with it. But that person can go and say to people, well, I was with this young black guy and he was laughing when I called him Kelly. Yeah, it happened to me. I had a guy at my work call me, oh, Kelly. Yeah, I have this dark sense of humor. And I just laughed. I indulged him because I wasn't in a position to speak for myself. So it saddens me. So I find it highly ironic that a black man can justify his transphobia through the old, I have a friend who's in that community who appreciates these jokes, so it must be alright. I have never met Daphne, and I wouldn't like to try to say that I understood her situation. But it so happens that when someone has emotional issues, they could bind themselves and associate themselves with someone who doesn't have the interests of their community at heart, just because that person is a person of influence and their acceptance means something to them. We saw it when Trump had his rallies. He would say, look there, over there is my African American. And a black person, a real black person would take it, would endorse Trump and let him call him my African American when he was clearly a racist. But he had African Americans who supported him. Does it mean he wasn't? Does it make Mr. Chappelle any less of a transphobe because he once had a person of the community who approved of what he said? I actually don't understand why he had to make this special. I don't. What was the point? He doesn't like trans people. Alright. What was the point? He thinks that trans people and gay people and queer people have been accepted by society more than black people have. Like he said, he once encountered a white alphabet person who seemed to be in a position of advantage and acceptance from society than black people. We shouldn't compete to see who's the most oppressed. We shouldn't feel like as black people, because we still have a struggle, we still have some ways to go. We shouldn't feel like we should punch down onto the trans and alphabet community to advance our own cause. Those are two things that are absolutely not related. So would he rather live in a transphobic world that also oppresses people of color in some way? What do we lose as people of color if queer people are accepted by society? It boggles the mind. I don't know why he felt like it was necessary for him to make this special. Humor is subjective, and my personal opinion is it wasn't as funny. I have watched so many of Chappelle's specials that had me in stitches. But this ain't it, Chief. I don't know what point he's trying to put across. It really saddens me. It was unnecessary. And I don't think the answer is to cancel him, as most of his opponents say. No, I think Netflix did the right thing. Freedom of speech is a bastion of any free society, of any democratic, liberal society. He should be allowed to say. And I also should be allowed to say that his special was unnecessary. It just wasn't it, Chief. And a comedian, when he is in his final days of his career, should take the example that George Carlin set. George Carlin was a true philosopher and social commentator. I think I'm going to make my next video about George Carlin and how he personally enhanced and enriched my life. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and above all, comment. Share your thoughts. What do you think about the closer? Did you like it? Did you find it funny? If yes, more power to you. Did you think that he was punching down? Comment, share, like, and subscribe. This has been some guy. Thank you.